Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you? Hey everybody, Venomous here. Oh, and Batman. Yes, Batman. That's well, our oldest cat now. Had an older cat, but she died a few years back. So Batman's old top now. Where was I? Let's get to it. Grabbing my stuff. Bam. Here we go. Inflation is now the time to get worried. For the first time in 30 years, inflation has become this salient political issue. Batman, you're pulling on my cord now, man. He's pulling on my microphone. Financial Times. Giving evidence in the historical setting of a wood-panelled room in the UK Parliament on Monday, Andrew Bailey, Governor of the Bank of England, was facing questions from MPs concerned that the nation was going back to the bad old days of high inflation. "We are a very long way from the 1970s, Bailey scoffed, highlighting the differences to an era when inflation hit 24.2% in 1975. The central banker was lucky that none of the parliamentarians had asked whether there were lessons to be learnt from the late 1960s, when the nation first began to lose control of prices in the post-war period, an era that some economists argue is being repeated now." Yes, Batman. Holy my goodness, man. It's not time to pet you. It's really not. 2 days later, the historical parallel was amplified when the strength of new inflation figures surprised the BOE again. Prices in the UK were 4.2% higher in October than a year earlier. He's really distracting me. The fastest rate of inflation for a decade, more than double the bank's target and almost twice its forecast as recently as 6 months ago. Inflation growth here. You got Canada, France, Germany, England, Japan, UK, and US. Now, I reported let's see, when did I report this? 23 days ago. Food prices to rise tremendously by some market billionaire guy. Actually, I don't know if I played the video in my video. I don't want to hear me talk about it. But what was the dude's name? He had a funny name. I don't have the link on me. Can't see my titties. That's his name. He's the president of Gristedis and D'Agostino Foods. He discussed his concerns about inflation, supply chain issues on Fox Business Mornings with Maria, and warned companies like Nabisco, Pepsi, and Coke will begin to prioritize products and raise prices in order to get ahead. I see food prices going up tremendously, he told Maria Balterimio, whatever. CEOs want to be ahead of the curve. So 10% in the next 60 days, and so we're seeing increases. Not quite 10% yet, but 23 days later, boom, inflation. Yeah, I can't pet you right now, man. You gotta stop. Ugh. You gotta stop, guy. Alright, so that was what I wanted to show you there. This is interesting. AI creates 9 million new designer drugs. This is on the RT. Scientists have used artificial intelligence to predict formulas for new designer drugs with the stated goal of helping to improve their regulation. The AI-generated formulas for nearly 9 million potential new drugs. Researchers with the University of British Columbia used a deep neural network for the job, teaching it to make up chemical structures of potential new drugs, according to their study released this week. Computer intelligence fared better at the task than the scientists had expected. The research team used a database of known designer drugs, synthetic psychoactive substances, to train the AI on the structures. The market for designer drugs is ever changing since their manufacturers are constantly tweaking their formulas to circumvent restrictions and reduce new legal substances, while cracking their structure takes months for law enforcement agencies, the researchers say. The vast majority of these designer drugs have never been tested in humans and are completely unregulated. They are a major public health concern to emergency departments across the world. One of the researchers, the UBC medical student Dr. Michael Skinner, had said. After its training, the AI was able to generate some 8.9 potential designer drug 8.9 million potential designer drugs. Afterwards, researchers ran a data sheet of some 196 new drugs, which had emerged in real life after the model was trained, and found that more than 90% of these have been already predicted by the computer. Quote, the fact that we can predict what designer drugs are likely to emerge on the market before they actually appear is a bit like the 2002 sci-fi movie Minority Report, where foreknowledge about criminal activities about to take place helped significantly reduce crime in the future world. Senior author Dr. David Wishart, a professor of computing science at the University of Alberta, has said, identifying completely unknown substances remains an issue for the AI, the research team has noted, but they hope it might potentially help with that task, since the computer was also able to predict which formulas of designer drugs were more likely to be created and hit the market. The model ranked the correct chemical structure of an unidentified designer drug among the top 10 candidates 72% of the time, while throwing its spectrometry analysis, which is an easily obtained measurement, bumped the accuracy to some 86%. It was shocking to us that the model performed this well, because elucidating entire chemical structures from just an accurate mass measurement is generally thought to be an unsolvable problem, Skinner stated. Alright, so that's that. Just an interesting story. We'll see where that takes things. Okay, can we stop petting you now? I don't know, I said we like there's more than one me petting him. But that's what I said. Let's move on to darker things. Fresh look at the C19er's origins, says Patient Zero was a seafood vendor in Huanan Market. So we're going back to that again. Natural, intentional. You gotta stop. You gotta stop, cat. Maybe if I stop petting him, he'll stop bugging me. There's an idea. Hey, you want some coffee? I'm just kidding. It's mine. The most early symptomatic cases have been linked to the western section of the market where raccoon dogs were caged. Raccoon dogs, or raccoons and dogs were caged? Nope, but just raccoon dogs. Hands up, don't shoot. Security guard waves for journalists to clear the road after a convoy carrying the World Health Organization team entered the Huanan seafood market in Wuhan in central China's Hebei province on Sunday, January 31st, 2021. Post Media Archives. An accountant from Wuhan, China, that was widely thought to be first person with COVID C19er actually developed symptoms 8 days later. 8 days! Oh, perfect, because I have another 8 a story with 8 in it. 8 days later, then initially reported, making a female seafood seller at the now infamous Huanan market the earliest known case. The confusion was caused. That's not true. I remember them saying specifically in a story that some of the people working at the laboratory had gone in with symptoms themselves. So, whatever. It's all, fairy tale novel anyways, right? Doesn't matter. Symptoms caused by coronavirus. Coronavirus! Started December 16th after multiple workers at the Huanan market were already exhibiting signs of infection, including the seafood vendor whose symptoms began December 11th, according to a study Thursday in the journal Science. The accountant lived 30 kilometers, 19 miles, from the market and had no connection to it. He was probably infected through community transmission after the virus began spreading in Wuhan. And Michael Warrowbay, okay, go away, guy, head of ecology and evolutionary biology at the University of Arizona in Tucson and the author of the study. Warrowbay's research suggests the Huanan market was the source of the initial outbreak and not just where the SARS-CoV-2 virus was amplified in a super spreading event. Scientists have yet to determine the origins of the SARS-CoV-2 debate about its genesis has coalesced around two competing ideas: a laboratory escape or spillover from animals. Studies identifying closely related coronaviruses, including in bats dwelling in limestone caves in northern Laos and in Cambodia, support the latter hypothesis. Not a hypothesis, a hypothesis, especially since live animals susceptible to the infection were known to be sold in wet markets in Wuhan, including the Huanan Center. No live mammals collected at the I'm so sick of saying that name, Huanan market, or any other live animal market in Wuhan has been screened for SARS-CoV-2 related viruses, and the Huanan market was closed and disinfected on January 1st, Warby said. Nevertheless, that most early symptomatic cases were linked to Huanan market, specifically to the western section. Get out of here, fly. Where raccoon. Seriously, are they raccoon dogs? Is this like a type of dog? Raccoon dogs were caged. I guess so. Excuse my ignorance. I really am curious, though, about raccoon dogs. Is this an actual species? Is it a dog or is it a raccoon? Oh, wow, look at it. It's interesting. Give me a picture of it. Oh, wow, it's cute. He's so poofy, too. He's a floofer. Anyways. Back to work. Provide strong evidence of live animal market origin of the pandemic. Yeah, that's the word I used. Did I say scam? No, I didn't say that. Although it may, you gotta stop crawling up here, man. He's trying to climb. Are you a raccoon dog? You're a big fat cat. That's what you are. Although it may never be possible to recover related viruses from animals since they weren't tested, as C19er emerged. Conclusive evidence of a Huanan market origin via infected wildlife may come through analysis of spatial patterns of early cases, he said. Additional genomic data, including SARS-CoV-2 positive samples from the Huanan market, as well as additional epidemiologic data, could bolster the case, Warbley said. Preventing future pandemics depends on this effort, he said. A joint study by China and the World Health Organization this year all but ruled out the theory that COVID-19 originated in a laboratory, saying that the most likely hypothesis was that it infected humans naturally, probably via the wildlife trade. WHO-led team of experts spent 4 weeks in and around the central city of Wuhan with Chinese scientists and said in a joint report in March that the SARS-CoV-2 virus had probably been transmitted from bats to humans through another animal, but further research was needed. To propose last month a new expert panel to investigate the source of the coronavirus. Let's get another panel to do it, so we can spread it out throughout the decade and just eventually just rewrite the whole book later on, and it doesn't matter because it's all came from a unicorn hoof. I was too scared to get the you know what, and I ended up dying 8 times. Woman 35 left unable to walk urges people to get vaccinated. Gemma Roberts 35 is urging Brits to receive the after being hospitalized was taken to the hospital with the virus in August and begged doctors not to let her die. She suffered 8 cardiac arrests and was brought back to life each time. Was put into a coma and found she couldn't move arms or legs after walking. Gemma has now undergone physio and can only walk with a walking aid. A woman who suffered 8 cardiac arrests while hospitalized with the COVID after refusing the vaccine. Oh, I didn't say that. The vaccine has now urged others to get the, you know what. Gemma Roberts, 35, is to be revived 8 times by medical staff. Yeah. On August 11th, another, you know what, magical number of this year, she rushed to hospital and placed on a ventilator after contracting coronavirus, CC33. The former Eddie Stobart employee told the Mirror that after initially being rushed to the hospital, she pleaded with doctors not to let her die, and that she rang her partner, Sophie, to tell her she was being put to sleep. Oh, she part of the LGBTQ PTQ2AXY. Yeah, I haven't said that in a while. She said, "I wish I had the vaccine before. I think everyone should have it now. I was one of those people that was scared of having the you-know-what. I heard it had killed people. I took a chance and I almost didn't pull through. You survived 8 heart attacks. I think you're fine. Medical professionals saved my life. That's who I will listen to now." She added that she felt guilty for having put her family through such stress. I mean, does this woman look very healthy to you to begin with? Is it really the you know what that gave her the heart attacks? Or was it her terrible health to begin with? During her time in hospital, Gemma also contracted sepsis twice. Wow. Which partner Sophie Holmes, 39, said caused a large rash to appear. Gemma and Sophie, huh? Gemma initially tested positive for C19er after taking a lateral flow test followed by a PCR test. She said she thought she was just hungover following a wedding party the weekend before because she had been feeling tired, sick, and out of breath. After her positive tests, she was told she would be taken to hospital so medical personnel could administer her with oxygen before letting her go again. Partner Sophie said that she was told 2 days after being admitted to hospital that she was going to be put to sleep before she suffered cardiac arrest on October 14th. So there's the lovely couple. They look extremely healthy. And they have great teeth. And they're awesome. She was brought back by medical staff before suffering further 2 in the following days. Then on August 31st, she suffered 4 cardiac arrests on a single day after having been on a ventilator for 3 weeks. 1 more cardiac arrest followed, and she was eventually taken off a ventilator at the beginning of October. However, upon waking up, she discovered that she couldn't move her arms or legs. She has since worked with physio staff to allow her to walk again with the use of a walking aid, and Sophie even proposed. What? There's a happy ending? A proposal? Ah. It's gonna be a new world wedding. Alright, that's enough of that. That's a silly story. Let's get to more horrible stuff, because that's how it goes. Team Toronto Kids C19er vaccination plan underway. Whoa, did it just change on me or what? With extended city-run vaccine clinic hours, and preparing to open 20,000 bookings for 5 to 11-year-olds. Fantastic. New release. Team Toronto Kids COVID-19. I said it. C19er vaccination plan is underway following today's approval of the, you know what, C19er vaccine to 5 and 11-year-olds by Health Canada. In preparation for the vaccine's anticipated arrival and ahead of the province opening up vaccine booking for kids early next week, the City of Toronto will open approximately 20,000 appointment bookings for vaccination for 5 to 11-year-olds between November 25th and December 5th at city-run immunization clinics. When booking for these vaccine appointments is opened next week, all Toronto children aged 5 to 11 years old, regardless of their neighborhood, will be eligible to book an appointment through the provincial booking system. The new bookings are for appointments at the City Metro's Toronto's Convention Centre, Woodbine Mall, Scarborough Town Centre, Clovendale Mall, and Mitchellfield Arena. The city is encouraging all kids to be superheroes. Oh, yes! The superheroes. Hey, let's just go back here for a moment. Isn't that how it was all? It's all been marketed. You're gonna be superheroes. I guess that's what all the Marvel stuff was coming out for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, pushing superhero crap. It was for this.
Getting ready to fight COVID.
All of us want to be superheroes, and the most important heroes are those that help others. This year, thousands of kids like us around the world joined the COVID-19 vaccine trial.
Kid power.
And when they did, they became all superheroes. To all the kids who volunteered, we'd like to say,
Thank you.
thank you for sharing your superpowers of
Courage.
trying new things,
The ability to save people.
the power to help people,
Helping not just yourself, but many other kids.
to not be scared, be strong, super brave,
bravery and courage.
a superhero shot, helping everybody, fight coronavirus and help others. You're helping the whole entire world. Thank you. You are all superheroes.
Thank you. Thank you, superheroes.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Oh, that is so sick! Let's read a little disclaimer here. Emergency uses for the vaccine have not been approved or licensed by the FDA, but have been authorized by FDA under emergency use authorization to prevent COVID disease. 2019. Individuals 5 years of age and older, the emergency uses are only authorized for the duration of the declaration that the circumstances exist justifying the authorization of emergency use of medical product under Section 564B1 of the FD&C Act, unless the declaration is terminated. I can't read the rest because the stupid line is in the way. Let's see. I want to see it, man. Terminated or authorization revoked sooner. Please see EUA fact sheets at 12 plus and 5 to 11. Oh, these people. They are coming for your children. Anyways, the city is encouraging all. Okay, so yeah, be superheroes. And there's the dates. Get effed. Get effed hard. And then we have this extremely disgusting article. Doctors say kids' C19 vaccine is a booster for mental health. Am I going to get sick? Am I going to transmit this to my family members? Are among kids' worries. Diana Grimaldos keeps getting the same questions from her kids. Is the virus gone? Has the virus gone away? Her 7-year-old daughter, Catalina, has always been an anxious child, but with her COVIDian cult member mother, I'm sure that her stress is through the roof now because they scare the crap out of their kids, these sick bastards. But it got much worse during the pandemic. She worries, says Grimaldos, who lives in Toronto. Catalina's anxiety was especially high during lockdown, although seeing her parents get their C19 vaccines helped. Along with going back to school in person, she's still very fearful, said her mother. The meteoric rise. I can't read the word for some reason. Meteoric. Oh, wait. You know the word. Rise in mental health issues among children throughout the pandemic is all too familiar for many parents, backed up by study after study and reflected in the practices of healthcare providers across Canada. The best medicine for many children, pediatric experts say, is to restore normalcy to their lives while staying safe with the C19 infection. Now that Health Canada has approved Canada's first coronavirus vaccine for kids aged 5 to 11, many parents and children's health care providers see light at the end of the tunnel. Vaccine is the way that we can get there! Yay! The pandemic's effects on kids extends beyond the threat of the C19er, making them sick, said Dr. Edsel Martinez, a pediatrician in Winnipeg and member of the Canadian Pediatric Society Public Advisory Committee. The public health measures that had to be taken to save lives had led to isolation, economic insecurity, and parental stress, which are all terrible for mental health, he said. All by design, baby. They knew this. This is a plan from the get-go. The mental health. We've seen an increase in all sorts of mental health issues, including anxiety, depression, eating disorders, substance use, and abuse. Children in general are resilient, Martinez said. For many, a return to regular activities, including school, birthday parties, sleepovers, and visits with grandma, will do wonders. All those things are extremely important for mental health, he said. The vaccine is the way that we can get there! Yay! Doesn't this guy look like a sick fuck, basically? He looks mentally ill himself. Oh, man. Many kids are also mostly... Oh, I can't read now. I'm so pissed off. Many kids are also acutely aware of the fact that they can carry the COVID infection and make someone they love ill. Both parents and doctors say. Grismodo's husband is immunocompromised, and Catalina worries about making her dad sick, especially when there's a COVID outbreak at their school. Her mother tries to reassure her and remove the guilt right after scaring the shit out of her. But even at the outdoor family gatherings where all the adults are vaccinated, she feels more comfortable with the mask than without it. Oh, fantastic. So she can't even be maskless anymore. She can't enjoy air. That's a big emotional burden for a child to carry, said Dr. Anna Banerjee, a pediatric infectious disease specialist with the Dalla Lana School of Public Health at the University of Toronto. The children's vaccine can not only reduce the risk of kids getting really sick, but also address the worry about Kobe and what's going to happen next, Banerjee said. Am I going to get sick, am I going to transmit it to my family members? That's a huge stress, she said. Collateral harms. When Health Canada and National Advisory Committee on Immunization decide whether or not to approve a vaccine, the key questions they must answer are whether the vaccine is safe and effective and whether the benefits outweigh any risks. In the case of Kobe, mental health has to be part of the discussion, said Dr. Carolyn Quachthan, pediatric infectious diseases specialist and medical microbiologist at CHU Saint Justine in Montreal. What you have to look at is the burden of illness, and the burden of illness includes not only the medical complications, but also all the cross-collateral damages that occur, said Quachthan, who is also a former chair of Nazi. The recommendations released by Nazi on Friday concluded that Pfizer-BioNTech's vaccine was not only safe and effective in protecting children from illness, but also said that children are at risk of collateral harms of the COVID pandemic. Prolonged schooling disruptions, social isolation, and reduced access to academic and extracurricular resources have had profound impact on the health, mental, and physical well-being of children and their families. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention came to similar conclusions when they approved Pfizer's vaccine for American children, a move that was applauded by American Academy of Pediatricians. The numbers are trickling in now that show the COVID pandemic has really resulted in significant psychosocial stressors on children and families, said Dr. Arwa Nasser, professor of pediatrics at the University of Nebraska and Medical Center and member of the AAP. We have numbers now to indicate an increase in the number of emergency room visits for mental health issues, suicide attempts, she said. That data backs up what pediatricians fear, Nasser said. We knew that the stressors associated with the pandemic, all the way from, the illness itself, the death of family members, the quarantine, the interruption of school, we knew that this is not going to be good. This keeps going. Oh, no, actually, we're close to the end. I thought it was going to be much longer. Surge in ER visits. The alarming rise in mental health issues, so severe that they require a trip to the hospital, is also happening on the side of the border, said Dr. Michael Chang, a child psychologist at CHEO in Ottawa, formerly the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. We are overloaded in terms of mental health issues, Chen said. Kids have gotten more stressed, anxious, depressed, suicidal during the pandemic, and now they're just to the point they're presenting to emerge. So, wait. How come they never talk about that for hospitals? For the impact on hospitals, caseloads. They're going to emergency, they're filling up the emergency because of mental problems? Don't talk about that ever. Part of that, they probably just label under the Kobe. Part of that is due to the interruption of healthcare services during the pandemic, so people delayed getting treatment for both physical and mental health problems, and they get worse, he said. The other part is an increase in children's experiencing psychological distress. Our wait lists have exploded, Chen said. The good news, he said, is that if kids get back to normal life, many will recover and be okay. Whenever you have a stress on a population, most people will recover from the stress, he said. Hopefully 80 to 90% of people will manage to move on. Oh man, this is just awful. In the U.S., children have been putting COVID vaccinations for a couple of weeks, while Nasser has been providing information to families who are hesitant to get the vaccine. She's also families with kids who are just so happy to get the shot. Great writing. It's excellent writing. Goes well with my shitty reading. This is a happy, empowering, good adjustment feeling that can be very helpful to their mental health, Nasser said. Kids feel like, I'm not like a victim to this. I'm doing something about it, and I'm participating not only in my wellness, but also in the community's wellness. That's how Diana Grimaldos hopes her daughter will feel when she gets her vaccine soon. I think it will give her a sense of security for sure. Now, can we follow this mother's child's story to make sure she doesn't croak suddenly for, inexplicable reasons? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, Kobe, Kobe. Yeah, so now I'm going to move on to some stuff I learned recently. I watched a video and came across a few things that I wanted to share with you. So we're going to be playing a little Cooper today. And then another video, and then I got a couple things to read, and then we'll be done. It's a very quick video for my usual hour-long whatnot. Anyways, here we go.
And I named this, Behold a Pale Horse, from chapter 13 of the book of Revelations. The fourth horse, the fourth horseman of the apocalypse is the pale horse. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. And that is taking place now today. The fourth horseman is riding across the world now. That's what AIDS is all about. That's what all these little brush fire wars all over the world are all about. That's what's happening. That's why cancer cures are suppressed. Is because they fully intend to kill a minimum of 2 billion people by the year 2000. AIDS is an invention of man. It is not a natural disease, and it has been implemented and placed into the population as a population control. And when they did it, they had the cure before they did it. Mm-hmm. And when they've deemed that enough people have died or been killed, they will say, we have a cure for AIDS. And everybody will be called to report to some place to get an inoculation, which is going to do two things. One, it's going to stop AIDS in its tracks. And number two, it's going to implant a device which will be able to be used to track each individual person and maybe even to control those people. And that's what the pet implant program is all about. It's not about finding lost pets. They don't give a damn about pets, and they would never put a satellite in orbit to find a lost pet, but yet there's a satellite up there that they're using to find pets that have been implanted with these devices. They're testing this program on pets that's going to be used in human beings. And in the Los Angeles Times in 1989, they ran an article. It was 10 forecasts for the coming decade, was the title of the article. I have a copy of it in my research center. And number 5, I believe it was number 5, in those 10 forecasts for the coming decade was chemical or electronic implants to control individual behavior on a 24-hour basis, unquote. So it's not hidden at all. It's there for anybody who wants to look.
But nobody's looking.
No. Nobody's looking. They believe, and I believe that they're right, that the biggest danger to mankind right now is man himself, population. A study in 1957 told them that by 1990 the world population would double in 33 years. Can you imagine that? The world population of human beings doubled in 33 years. Mm-hmm. And they knew that it's an exponential doubling throughout history. Every time it's doubled, the interval has gotten shorter. So that was 33 years. The next doubling will take place in approximately 28 years. The next one after that, approximately 24 years. Can you imagine if the world population doubles again in 28 years from 1990? In other words, in the year 2018, the world population doubles. And we're having problems with food supplies and timber and clean water and clean air now. And then after that, it doubles again in another 24 years. That's why they created AIDS. Because they didn't want to have to go around the world and say, you, and you up against the wall, you've got to die today. And shoot them. They did it in a manner to where they could target what they consider to be undesirable populations. And I want to be very clear that I don't agree with them on this. They specifically targeted blacks, Hispanics, and homosexuals for complete eradication. And AIDS is really going through those populations, and it's really doing a number on blacks, Hispanics, and homosexuals.
That theory has made news. I've heard that before, and,
Well,
and
this
it's been
isn't a
debunked
theory.
very clear by the public, saying, "Oh, that's ridiculous." But you're saying that that may indeed be the case.
It's not ridiculous. I actually saw this in documents, and the project name was Project Naomi. MK Naomi was the name of it. It was a CIA project. The AIDS, whatever causes AIDS, whatever that turns out to be, according to those documents, was developed at Fort Detrick, Maryland, under a CIA project called MK Naomi. It was financed by $10 million for the Department of the Army's biological warfare programs. It was carried out, supervised by the CIA, carried out by scientists who worked for the Special Operations Division of the Department of Defense. And it's doing its job.
So there's that, and I have another video I'm going to play here. And we'll get into Project Naomi. Wait, was this the same video again? Yeah.
And I named this, behold.
Why do I have two of them? Is this the other video? Yeah, this should be the other video.
I was going along with the program, and I was looking forward to graduating from intelligence analyst school and hoping to get stationed in Hawaii. Good luck. Two things radicalized me against the military and against my serving. And the first one was when in class one day, one of the teachers said, "You may have to sacrifice some of your guys." What do you, excuse me? What do you mean by that? Well, you may have to send a platoon of 20 guys over the hill to count the enemy, around their campfires or whatever. And some of them, come back. But what you want is the information. How many tanks? Yeah. Or how many guns or whatever. Whoa. It rattled me. I wanted to be a commercial pilot versus being a hippie pot dealer. I mean, I wasn't going down that road, right? So anyway, I just filed that away, but it did shake me. And then it came a couple weeks later, I think it was, I was visiting the Post Library, as I recall it, after hours, doing some studying. And I found a reference to a shocking concept. It's still shocking to this day. And it was called Project MK Naomi. MK colon Naomi, Naomi. Ethno-specific biological weapons. Ethnic specific biological weapons. Took my breath away. And it indicated that we had such a thing either in development or already in the arsenal to use against other people. Ethnic specific biological weapons. The concept was that the Army was developing biological weapons, which are now called weapons of mass destruction. And I thought illegal, supposed to be illegal, I think, according to Geneva Conventions, etc. But my understanding at that time was that the Army was designing specific weapons that people wouldn't have an immune defense for. So they were guaranteed to kill them. Project MK Naomi, one of the weapons that came out of that, which anybody can Google to this day, is, I believe, the AIDS virus. Acquired immune deficiency syndrome. Immune deficiency, designed to, the body would have no defense. So I didn't find that out till 4 or 5 years later, when AIDS all of a sudden was in the news, and I thought, uh-oh, I think I know where that came from. And I'm so glad I stood opposed to it.
All right, Project Naomi, MK Naomi. MK Naomi was the code name for a joint Department of Defense CIA research program lasting from 1950s through the 1970s. Unclassified information about the MK and Naomi's program and the related Special Operations Division is scarce. It is generally reported to be a successor of the MK Ultra project, focusing on biological projects including biological warfare agents, specifically to store materials that could either incapacitate or kill a test subject, and to develop devices for the diffusion of such materials. During its first 20 years, the CIA engaged in projects designed to increase U.S. biological and chemical warfare capabilities. Project MK Naomi was initiated to provide CIA with a covert support base to meet its top-secret operational requirements. The goal was to have a robust arsenal of lethal and incapacitating materials within the CIA's Technical Service Division, TSD. This would enable the TSD to serve as a center for supplying biological and chemical materials, surveillance, testing, upgrading, and the evaluation of special materials and items were provided by MK Naomi to ensure that no defects or unwanted contingencies emerged during operational conditions. The U.S. Army's Special Operations Command (SOC) was assigned to assist the CIA with development, testing, and maintenance procedures for biological agents and delivery systems. 1952. Both the CIA and the SOC modified guns to fire special darts coated with biological agents and poison pills. Yes, you just heard that right. Modified guns to fire special darts coated with biological agents or poisonous pills. The darts could incapacitate guard dogs, allowing agents to infiltrate the area that the dogs were guarding, and would then be used to awaken the dogs upon exciting the facility. In addition, the SOC was designated to research the potential to use biological agents against other animals and crops. A 1976 CIA memo, which was uncovered by the Church Committee, contained evidence of at least 3 covert techniques for attacking and poisoning crops that had been tested under field conditions. On November 25, 1969, President Richard Nixon banned any military use of biological weapons. And Project MK Naomi was dissolved on February 14, 1970. Presidential order outlawed all stockpiles of bacteriological weapons and non-living toxins. However, despite the presidential order, a CIA scientist was able to acquire an estimated 11 grams of deadly shellfish toxin from SOC personnel at Fort Detrick. The toxin was stored in a CIA laboratory where it remained undetected for over 5 years. Ooh, there's a Project MK Delta. Never heard of that one. I'll have to read on that one later. But yeah, you heard that correctly. Poison darts. Where did we see that recently? I don't know. Let's head on back over to my Odyssey again. And a video I could not put on YouTube because of the copyright, because I was using portions of audio from the audiobook The Maze Runner Kill Order, but I can play the first beginning of it because it's just this part. You'll see that's already in the media.
Get blow darts, blow it into him, blow dart it into him, like blow dart. Again,
So unorganized.
blow dart. So again, you just shoot everyone with drone darts. Blow darts is always the answer.
Yeah.
Like blow dart. You get blow darted into him. Other than blow darts, the obvious answer is blow darts. Blow darts. Drone darts. Blow darts. Blow darts. Blow darts. Blow dart. It is the perfect answer. I will cheers the left.
Yes, cheers.
And then the prequel, the first prequel. There's 2 prequels. The Kill Order is the first one, which I've read, and I'm reading again. And the Fever Code, which I've never got the chance to go through, and I will read it shortly after I finish the Kill Order. So the kill order, about 13 years before the maze experiment thing, the whole maze runner stuff. So this, about a year or so after the flares hit. And so they're in a village little settlement from, post-flare settlement. And this berg, this big flying machine shows up to the village one day, and out come a bunch of men. Well, they don't really come down or anything, but they pop out, these men in these big green rubber suits or whatever, and they start shooting everyone with darts. That's all I can play of that, but I'll do a quick read just from a section of it. Wait, where is it? Okay, yeah. Oh, great, you just highlighted it all. Okay, so the bird comes out, right? Out of the corner of the eye, Mark noticed Darnell taking in a breath, his mouth opening probably to say something smart and funny back at Toad. The action was cut off by a loud, wrenching sound from above, followed by the groan and squeal of hydraulics. Mark watched in fascination. The large square-shaped hatch at the bottom of the berg began to open, pivoting on the hinges lower like a ramp. It was dark inside, and little wisps of mist came swirling out of the gaps, grew wider. Gasps and shouts rippled throughout the crowd. Hands raised and fingers pointed upward. Mark tore his gaze from the berg for a moment, and everything stuck in the sense of awe surrounding him. They'd become desperate people living on blah blah blah. So anyways, here comes. A fresh wave of gas spilled over through the square. Mark snapped his head back and looked up. 5 people had emerged from the darkness of the berg, dressed in outfits that sent a chill racing down Mark's spinal cord. Green, rubbery, and bulky one-piece suits that covered the structures from head to toe. The suits had clear visors in the headpiece through which their wearers could see, but the glare in the distance made it impossible for Mark to make out their faces. They stepped carefully in black boots, pulled over the green materials until 5 of them lined up at the outer edge of the lower hatch door. Their tense body language, blah blah blah. Each of them held a black tube in their hands as it were a gun. But the tubes didn't look like any guns Mark had ever seen. They were thin and long, with an attachment at the end that made them resemble plumbing parts. Someone had ripped out an industrial pump, and once the strangers settled into their positions, they held up the tube-like things and aimed them directly at the people. Mark realized Alec was screaming at the top of his lungs, pushing and shoving people to move them away. Everything around them was erupting in chaos and panic. Mark had fallen into a trance, watching the strangers with the odd outfits and the menacing weapons come out of the berg, as everyone else in the crowd finally woke up at the fact that these people weren't here to save them. What happened to Mark, who could act fast, who had survived, blah blah blah. He was still frozen, watching all as the first shot was fired from above. A blur of moment, a quick flash of something dark and small and fast bursting from one of those tubes. Mark's eyes followed the trajectory. He heard a sickening thunk, his head twisting to the side, just in time to see Darnell had a 5-inch dart long sticking out of his shoulder, and the metal shaft planted deep within the muzzle. Blood trickled down from the wound. The boy made a strange grunt as he collapsed to the ground. Anyways, so I don't know which chapter it is, but it explains this Mark guy and Alec, the old military guy. They get on the berg, the berg, and take out most of the crew. But when they get on the berg, they were looking around and they find a case with capsules or whatever, and it's a virus that's for the darts. It's a virus. So they go around infecting everyone intentionally to depopulate them further after the post-flare coalition, and they go around infecting everyone around with these poison darts. So there you go. I don't have much time left to record. I gotta go. So yeah, I will direct you to a video I saw just yesterday. Really great stuff, which led me to the Cooper and other video, the MK Naomi stuff. So I'm going to direct you to that, and I'll leave the link in the description, and you can watch the video called Trust Ultra, Trust Naomi. Really good work. I thank you so much for your time and attention, as always, and I hope you the best, and I will see you next time. This is Venomous reporting from the brave new world. Catch you next time.